Hey, look, you guys, do you want to lift home?
That's really nice of you, Paul, but Sandy and me, feel like taking a walk home.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll take a shortcut through the cemetery where the half-human psychopath is known to hang out.
Hey, is that a smart thing to do? I mean, that cemetery can be a real spooky place,
come on,
especially
Paul.
tonight. It's Friday the 13th,
Paul.
and it's Halloween night,
Okay.
and there's a full moon out there, and Sandy's wearing a dead bat round her neck.
Oh, come on, Paul, you don't believe all that.
Besides, we have to go through the cemetery. Sandy may have dropped her contact lens there.
Right. Where'd you last have it, Sandy?
In my eye.
Okay, Sandy, if you must go through the cemetery, then let me give you this. I feel really bad if anything happened to you, so please, just take it, just in case.
Oh, Paul, it's a beautiful gold necklace with a silver crucifix on it.
Yeah, I thought you should have it, Sandy. I stole it from your mother's handbag.
Hey, this place is really scary. Perhaps we should have gone home in the car with Paul.
Oh, come on, Sandy. Oh, my God.
What is it, Brett? That man. There's something eerie about him.
It's his ears.
Brett, look. He's got no head.
Geez, you're right. Oh, my God, look. He's got no body either.
In fact, there's nobody there at all.
That was a close one. Thank God for that. It was only a woodlouse.
Killer woodlice in downtown Los Angeles. Don't miss dumb Yankee school kids.
It sure is nice of you to come and babysit for us, Shelley. Especially tonight when you know you're going to get savagely murdered.
That's all right, Mr. Johansson. I have some homework to catch up on.
Okay. Little Johnny's all tucked up in bed now, so he should be no bother. Oh, should there be any trouble, just remember the telephone lines are all down because of the storm. And the nearest police station's in Peru. Oh, and watch out for any sex killers.
I'll be fine, Mr. Johansson, just fine. I'll just sit here and read. Oh, I may take my clothes off and stand in front of the window for a while, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Just make yourself at home. Oh, by the way, you still going steady with that Abelson boy?
Sure am.
Fine boy. I saw him just an hour ago, hanging from a telegraph pole by his intestines. Oh, and one more thing, Shelley. Should you accidentally spill coffee on your white T-shirt at the stroke of midnight and for some reason want to wash it off, then the washing machine is in the shack right down at the bottom of the garden by that dark clump of trees. If you get lost, just ask that guy with the bandages around his face.
Okay, Mr. Johansson, have a nice time. Is there somebody there? Is there somebody there? Who is it? Oh, Johnny! What's a little 3-year-old boy doing out of bed at this time of night, huh?
I want to talk to you, Shelley.
Don't be silly, Johnny. Get back to bed. There's a good boy.
I wanted to marry you, Shelley.
Don't be dumb, Johnny. You're only 3.
You went off with another man, Shelley.
Why are you looking at me like that?
You went with another man, and that upset me,
Oh, cut it
Shelley.
out, Johnny.
Things happen when I get upset, when I get really low. You know what happens when I get really low and depressed, Shelley?
What, Johnny?
I sing the blues.
Welcome to international weightlifting. You join us here as the Russian champion Nikolai Sverdlikov is on his first attempt. A strong 14-stone hulk of a man, he's attempting to say the word hitchhiker. A good start. A lot of confidence in the early part of the word.
Hitcha!
Good so far, he's doing very well.
Aja!
No, he's veering towards hedge.
Hedja!
Hedge hiker will not do at this level. No, he's not going to make it.
Hedgehog!
Oh! No, he said hedgehog. That will not do. Not for hitchhiker. No. You very rarely see a hedgehog hitching a lift at the side of the road. Or lying down in a quiet, sort of flat manner. Now, let's see what the West German contender can do. Here he is, 6 foot 2 inches, 13 stone, Carl Schneider. And his word is whooping cough.
Hoopa!
Well, he's saying hoo-pa. Not a promising start there for whooping cough.
Oopa! Oopa!
I don't think he's going to make it. He's saying hoo-pa an awful lot. If he's not careful, he's going to have to give up and say
Oopa!
who passed their O-levels. Which wouldn't be a very good rendition of whooping cough at all.
Mumps!
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He said mumps, a virus disease most dissimilar to whooping cough. He'll be heavily penalised for that, and now it's the turn of the British contestant, who's at a great advantage because he's playing on his home language, English. The British contestant, 8.5 stone, 5 foot 6 inches, Sir Rodney Blennerhassett of that ilk. His word is T-re-blioff, liarch, lihen, rira, thur.
Terry awfully, actually. Henry, rather.
Brilliant, brilliant, he's done it, victory for Great Britain.
I am the Oracle of Delphi, the all-seeing, all-knowing Oracle. Approach the Oracle. What is your business here?
Hello. My name is Lytotes, General of the Athenian army. You may remember I came here last week. I came to ask you the best way to win the battle against the hostile Persian army.
I can't say I remember you.
Ah, well, no, you may not recognize me, you see. Last week I had legs.
Oh.
And an arm. A bit like this one, actually, only on the other side. And with a hand on the end.
Oh, yes. I think I remember.
No, when I asked you the best way, you see, to defeat the Persian army, and you said, when the fierce midday sun beats down upon the bronze helmets of the Persian host, then should you strike.
What's wrong with that?
Well, for a start, they came at night.
You should have trusted my word.
No, we did. We waited till midday the following day. 14 hours we waited. Come 12 o'clock, there we were, still fighting away. The two of us. Me and my grandfather.
But when eventually the fierce midday sun beat down on their bronze helmets, then surely
No.
I'm
I'm afraid about 10:30 it clouded over and started pissing down. Till 6 o'clock that evening.
Oh dear.
When the not very fierce evening sun beat gently down on 10 million Athenian dead.
You should have been more thoughtful in interpreting my message.
Oh.
I meant when the fierce midday sun, or possibly the heavy torrential rain, beat down on the bronze helmets of the Persians.
The other thing was that they didn't have bronze helmets.
Ah.
They had sou'westers.
Yep.
And leggings.
But didn't you have leggings?
Leggings? I didn't even have legs.
Yet you're still alive.
Oh, yes, alive, but not kicking.
Look, it's no use coming belly aching to me. I'm only the Oracle at Delphi. You want to go and complain to the weatherman at Argos.
Well, it's not just that I'm complaining about. I've got a petition here to get you out. A list of names as long as my remaining arm.
I know everything. I see everything. I'm the great Oracle at Delphi.
All right, then, know all. When did Heracles kill the three-headed monster Geryon?
When the fierce midday
Don't
sun...
give me all that crap. Who'll win the World Cup in 1966?
Corfu?
Nowhere near. Who'll have a hit single with a Mulligan tire?
Boney M.
Miles out. Come on, admit it. Come on. I don't believe you're the Delphic Oracle at all. I think you're Eunice the bull shooter.
All right, I am Eunice the bull shooter. But listen, you've got to tell me who's going to have a hit with Mulligan tire.
Paul McCartney.
Good Lord. Such a dull tune, too. And one last thing, who is going to win the World Cup in 1966?
Oh, that's easy. Boney M.
Oh.
Hi, I'm trying to get up to Dodson.
Dodson? Well, that's where I'm headed myself. What? Why don't you just hop right in? Why, you sure are a pretty young thing to be out on your own in the middle of nowhere. You never know what queer folk you might come across.
I I can look after myself. I got my wits about me.
You'll need more than that, my pretty. Hey, there's nothing in Dodson for a pretty girl like you, my dear.
Oh, I'm going to summer camp up there, Camp Crystal.
It's not called Camp Crystal anymore, you know. Not after what happened there.
What's it called now?
It's called Camp Crystal.
That's the same as it was called before.
I know, nothing happened there, you see.
You're not some kind of pervert, are you?
Oh, my God, you're so innocent.
Hey, this isn't the way to Dodson.
You're going the long way to Dodson, my dear. You're coming with me.
Hey, you're not a psychopath, are you? Hey, let me out.
No, I'm not a psychopath, my dear. I'm much worse than a psychopath.
Let me out. You're going miles out of my way.
Well,
You're
why?
insane. You're not a Mooney, are you?
I'm worse than a Mooney.
Look, just take me to Dodson, please. This is
Dodson?
miles from where I want to go. What are you, a Freemason?
Much worse than that, my dear. Keep calm. We have a long journey ahead.
Take me to Dodson. You're going the wrong way. What are you?
I'm a taxi driver. That'll be $400, please.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today on the sad occasion of the funeral of Mr. Lenny Walters, who died last week. I'm sure his bereaved widow, Mrs. Bessie Walters, will not need reminding of the 150-foot fall off a block of flats, which took her beloved from her. As it says in the Bible, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. I think the phrase taketh away is obviously the more appropriate today in the circumstances. Bessie and Lenny always had a very happy life together. Bessie told me herself how joyful her life with Lenny was, so I can only think that Lenny's untimely death is God's way of making Bessie feel rarely cheesed off. Still, where there's life, there's hope, which of course doesn't apply to Lenny. But look on the bright side, it's all work for me. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, funk to flunky, we all know Major Tom's a junkie. In the words of David Bowie, and how true. But let's not look back, let's look forward. What about the future? Well, Lenny hasn't got one. Let's reflect for a moment on what thoughts must have been going through Lenny's head as he plummeted to the ground. Perhaps his thoughts turned to his loved ones, to his wife, big fat Bessie. Perhaps he thought, I wish big fat Bessie were here now, lying down there just where I'm going to land. But perhaps not. Or perhaps he thought about dear old Reggie Boothby, who was watering his window box on the 12th floor as Lenny hurtled by. Reggie's funeral is tomorrow morning, incidentally, once they found his head. Of course, on these occasions, it is often true to say that the departed is better off where he is. But I'm sure if Lenny were alive now, he'd be trying like hell to get out of that coffin. The choir will now sing You've Got My Number, Why Don't You Use It by the Undertones.
Drug abuse, inner city violence, alcoholism, sexual perversion, Griff, Rhys-Jones.
Thank you. Today, figures were published which showed conclusively that alcoholism was on the increase, especially amongst those who drink too much.
Yes. Yes, Griff, and alcoholism, as some of you may know, falls roughly into 3 stages: the heavy social drinker, the total alcoholic, and the airline pilot. So, now we'd like to carry out our own special survey and ask the serious question, are you a piss artist?
Question 1. When you get up in the morning, do you...
A, get out of the right side of the bed.
B, get out of the left side of the bed.
C, get out of the bath.
Do you get home after work?
A, at tea time. B, at supper time.
C, once every 3 weeks.
Someone has just spilled your drink in a pub. Do you...
A, say, careful now.
B, say, mind where you're going, you clumsy oaf. C, get down on all fours and lick it up.
You get home and you find that there is no drink in the house. Do you...
A, have an early night.
B, Do you with a cup of coffee?
C, move house.
It's gone closing time, and the barman refuses to serve you. Do you say...
A, sorry, I didn't hear you call time.
B, oh, come on, just a half.
C.
Do you arrive at a pub?
A, at opening time.
B, a few hours after opening time.
C, do you have your own key?
Where do you most like to have a drink?
A, in your own home.
B, in a pub.
C, in your mouth.
You have started seeing little green men crawling up the walls. Do you?
A, resolve to give up alcohol.
B, go and see a psychiatrist.
C, try and catch a drink of them.
Well, there we are. That's the quiz. Just write down your answers on the back of a beer mat, send them to us, and the first one we can read will receive the prize of a fortnight's holiday for two in the newsroom. Catherine and Simon lay beneath the willow tree in the grounds of Lord Herbert's estate. "How can I forget the night we first met," said Simon, banging his head against the tree in the hope that might do the trick. It was at the Duke of Cumberland's ball that he'd first set eyes on Catherine. The Duke of Cumberland had only ever had one ball. But what a ball it was. A colourful affair, spectacular in its size. Catherine had the pale blue eyes of her father, Lord Herbert, the fine bone structure of her mother, Lady Herbert, and the short black curly hair of her cousin, Count Basie. Simon was a brave young soldier who had just returned from fighting in France. As there was no war in France, he'd picked on people in bars. Their eyes met to form one large one which could see in all directions. "It's no use," said Simon. "Our romance is fated. I'm a soldier. I must return in the morning." "Barracks?" said Catherine. "No, really, it's true," said Simon. Catherine was heartbroken. She tried to smile, but she'd washed her face that morning and she couldn't do a thing with it. "Then let's not waste our last hours. Come to my bedchamber." Catherine's bedchamber was in the crumbling 18th century wing of a huge dead pigeon. They crossed the lawn. It seemed to take an age to reach her bedchamber, but in fact it took just 14 weeks. At last they were at her door. "Oh, Simon, I want to," said Catherine passionately. "I'm a West Brom supporter," said Simon pointlessly. They entered. They embraced. She touched his cheek, marveling at the fact that he wore neither trousers nor underpants. It was now or never. They sat down on the bed. Without taking her eyes off Simon, Catherine undid the buttons on her beautiful silk blouse and let it fall from her firm young shoulders. Unable to control his wildest desires, Simon reached over and put it on. Now, you say this is your first visit to a sex therapist, yeah?
Yes.
Well, look, there's no need to feel embarrassed.
Oh, good.
You've taken the all-important first step to achieving a full and active sex life.
Oh, good.
Okay? Now, what exactly is the problem?
Well, I can't, well, you know, I can't, have it off.
I see. You're experiencing certain difficulties in the successful enactment of sustained intercourse.
No. I just can't have it off, that's all.
Have you any ideas of your own as to the causes?
Well,
I mean, for instance, do you think you're not attractive to the opposite sex?
Could be that, yes.
Or could it be that you're wearing the wrong deodorant?
Well, it could be that, I suppose, yes.
Or is it something else? I mean, you can tell me, it won't go any further.
Thanks. Well, I think it possibly has something to do with the fact that I'm a panda.
Yes, I had noticed. Are you a giant, Panda?
Well, I've never had any complaints in the past.
I see. When was the last time you made love?
March.
Oh, I see.
1968.
And it wasn't a complete success.
No, not really, no.
Why was that?
Well, I find it a really humiliating and pointless experience, really, you know.
It must have been a deeply disturbing experience for you.
It was. And I don't think it was exactly a barrel of laughs for the gerbil either, really.
The gerbil.
Yes, she didn't seem to be very keen on the physical side of our relationship.
Yeah.
Not like the ant.
You used to make love to an ant?
Only once, really. After that, it sort of fell apart, really. Yeah.
Well, look, it strikes me that your main problem stems from the fact that you seem not to have come into much contact with any female pandas.
Oh, I have, in fact. Yeah, they put one in my cage last week. In fact, she's the only one in captivity.
Well, I'm sure that within a few weeks, once you've established a meaningful rapport with this lady panda, everything will start falling into place.
I don't think so, really.
Why not?
She's gay. So, this is it then?
Yes.
Just like that?
Yes.
But we've always been so happy together.
I know we were.
I don't understand it. I mean, was it sex?
Don't be silly.
I mean, I thought we had a really good sex life, you know.
We did. It was fantastic.
And you want to throw it all away now? You want to ruin
know
it?
how I feel.
All right, you win.
Fine.
We will get married.
And if anyone should know if there be any just cause why these two should not be joined together in holy matrimony, let him speak now, or forever hold their peace. Anyone? Nobody at all? No one? No one at all? All right then. I now pronounce you man and horse.
Telekinesis, a strange psychic power, the power to move objects without even touching them. With me tonight is Arthur Moody,
Hello.
a leading exponent of telekinesis.
Here, you've got an egg stain on your shirt.
Oh, good Lord, sir, I haven't.
I had an egg stain on my shirt till I moved it onto your shirt.
Did you? Yes. Well, when did you first realize you had this power?
When I'd moved my toenails off my feet and onto my knees.
Why?
Well, it's so much easier to cut them, you see. They'd all up messing round in the bath.
So you never used telekinesis?
That's me, you see, moving your lips in the wrong way.
Arthur, I have to ask you this. Your power has no explanation known to man. Do you worship the devil?
I wouldn't say that. I like him.
Has he ever possessed you?
Certainly not. We've been out together a couple of times. I've been back to him for coffee, but after that, I just give him a quick peck on each horn and then I just, catch the last bus home.
He doesn't turn you into a gibbering maniac.
No. Mind you, his coffee does. I blame it on the bat's milk and black sugar, you see.
Well, finally, Arthur, I believe you're going to demonstrate your powers to the listeners at home.
Indeed so. I'm going to make every listener walk into his or her lavatory.
Fascinating. And how are you going to do that?
I'm going to play them a Bucks Fizz record.
Dear Diary, things remain much as before here in the North Atlantic. I think constantly of the great sailors who went before me. Francis Drake, Magellan, Chichester, Captain Pugwash. But now I have heard on the radio that someone from Portsmouth has decided to sail round the world twice, without stopping, backwards. Oh, brave fellow. Nonetheless,
I feel sure my feat of endurance will enter the record books alongside him. I envy him his mast and sails, though. I have terrible blisters on my hands, and I haven't touched bottom with the punt pole for the last 14 months. Thank God my trusty vessel is sound. I am convinced that British baths are the best in the world. Somehow, I never think of the loneliness here in my bath. I've made friends with a man-eating shark, and every now and then I throw it titbits, arm bits, leg bits, anything to keep it happy. I never cease to think of the debt I owe to British Construction and their sponsorship. Mind you, these ferro-concrete trousers are a bit uncomfortable at times. Despite it all, I know I can never go back to life in London again, partly because of my need for the open skies, partly because of the urge to achieve, but mostly because I've just pulled out the plug of this damn bath. Well, I'm afraid you've reached that time in your life when it just happens.
How will I feel?
Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You'll become a little irritated, listless, exhausted. You may wonder if life is worth living. Nothing very much.
Does it hurt?
Some more than others. But everybody has to go through with it sooner or later.
When exactly does it start?
Hit you at any time. I mean, eventually we all have to pay income tax.
Hello, William. How are you, love? Oh, good. You brought Lucy with you. How nice to meet you, love. Are you enjoying the university? You look as though you are. William's told me so much about you. But you didn't tell me she was lovely, William. Because you are lovely, Lucy. That's what you are. You're lovely. And you didn't tell me she had a ring through her nose either, William. Is that the latest, Lucy? We used to wear them through our ears, you know. But that's very original. I expect people call you a pig sometimes, Lucy, don't they? Do you make your own clothes, love? Yes, I thought so. What is that material? It's lovely and shiny. It's got a lovely taffeta feel to it, hasn't it? What is it? Is it that PV bin liner? I'm sorry, love. No, I don't mind if you smoke, Lucy. William, could you just open the front window? I'll just open this one here. That's for the through draft, you see, Lucy. Turn the fan on, William, and pass me my inhaler. Don't mind me, Lucy. I'm a bit of a funny one about things like that. I've always been a bit funny about smoking. Because William's father, my husband, he was taken from us. And he was a very heavy smoker. And so was the woman he ran off with. And so, William, go and make the tea, love, would you? Thank you. Oh, good. I am glad to get a chance to talk to you on your own, Lucy, because William's obviously very affected by you, and well, you may just think this is a mummy being funny, but I find he's changed a lot since he went away to university, and it's not just his hair. Do you like it? Do you? You see, I find I can only cope with the one colour at a time. But when I first saw Williams, I had to go away and be physically unwell, Lucy. And Lucy, those crow's feet worry me a bit, you know, hanging from his ears like that. Because I heard, Lucy, that wearing earrings in a man means that you're a homosexual. And he did have a very odd letter from a friend of his in America. You know, I only caught a glimpse at the last 3 pages, but... But do you know, he signed himself off, Love and Kisses, from Simon. Well, I think that's very odd. I think that's taking excess too far, really. You see, there weren't any in my day, none at all, and now they're all over the place, aren't they? Your brother? Is he? Really? Well, that's probably nature, isn't it? Oh, hello, William. Just pop it down on the occasional table. You know, Lucy, William used to help me a lot around the home, didn't you, William? That was before I was released from it, of course. But now, of course, he's too busy gadding about and getting involved in all this writing business, aren't you, William? You see, Lucy, what I think is that it's not a question of race or colour or creed. It's a question of self-control. I'm not saying they're all like that. No, I'm not saying that. And actually, I met a very nice one in the street last week who nearly bumped into me, you know, and he said, sorry, you know, just like anybody else. But that's High Wycombe for you. It's a lovely area. People are of one mind here. What do you mean that's not enough to go around 17,000 people, William? You know, the trouble with you, William, is that every time you open your mouth, you say something unspeakable. You know what you did last night?
Oh, no. What?
I hope you were drunk.
I was drunk.
Remember Mrs. Curtis?
No.
You know, fat, ugly old bag.
No.
Wife of your managing director, Fatty Curtis. At least that's how you introduced her.
Oh, no. I introduced her as Fatty Curtis's wife.
No, as a fat, ugly old bag.
Oh, no.
I don't think she noticed, though.
Oh, thank God for that.
She was too busy trying to get her blouse back on.
Why did she take her blouse off?
She didn't.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Why?
Why do flowers grow? Why does the sun rise in the east? Why do drunks throw up all over the flower display during the hors d'oeuvre and use the managing director's wife's blouse to wipe it up? And then run up and down the stairs threatening to put Mr. Curtis in the dishwasher.
Oh.
The bishop didn't like it.
I don't imagine he did.
No, I mean, he didn't like it when you tried to throw him over the garden fence.
Oh.
Amazing the strength one has when one's drunk.
No.
But he is a bishop, so he'll get the best sort of treatment. When they find him.
Oh.
Look, it's no use getting upset. Everything's in the past now. Bishops, dishwashers, career.
Oh.
But at least you've got me.
Yeah. Who are you?
Jenny Curtis.
Not Mr. Curtis's 17-year-old daughter.
No. Mr. Curtis's 15-year-old daughter.
Oh.
The problem of excess weight is on the increase. In fact, it seems to be worse in some areas than others, such as the stomach, legs, Birmingham. In fact, recent figures show that 1 in 5 people is grossly overweight. So, statistically speaking, 1 member of our cast of Injury Time should be grossly overweight. Griff?
Yes, the problem... Are you implying something, or what?
No.
No, I mean, you're not implying that I'm fat or anything.
No.
Right,
Honestly,
joke
no
over.
offense,
Let's get on with
okay?
it.
Sorry, Griff.
Sorry, Griff.
Sorry.
Sorry, Fatso.
No, I'm sorry! I'm sorry! If we don't have an end to this, I shall go home and I'll count my money, all right?
Okay, sorry, really. Well, in view of this ever-increasing problem...
Which nobody on this show has, I may add.
Absolutely. We've decided to carry out our own survey and ask the question, are you a big, fat, unhealthy slob?
When you go into a restaurant, do you...
A, have 1 course.
B, have 3 courses.
C, get stuck in the doorway. Your girlfriend is very affectionate, but she can put her arms around you.
A, only if you breathe in.
B, only if she really stretches.
C, only if she's a baboon.
Oh, yes, very funny, very, very funny.
Do you fantasize most about...
A, eating.
B, women.
C, eating women.
If you were totally honest with yourself, would you have to say that you were...
A, slightly overweight.
B, hideously fat.
C, Rhys-Jones.
And you... Don't you applaud either!
From the people who brought you Love Story, Ordinary People, Kramer versus Kramer, comes the weepiest weepy of all. Bring someone along to wipe the tears away. Franco Zeffirelli's Peeling Onions. It's lovely to have you back here in bed with me, John.
Oh, God.
Was it a big job last night, John?
Eh?
I wish you'd give it up, John.
Oh, don't start, girl.
When are you going to go straight, John?
When the drink's worn off.
Supposing you get caught.
They won't catch me. I haven't been caught now for 10 years.
You've been in prison for the last 10 years.
Shut up, girl. It's 3 o'clock in the bleeding morning.
That's when they come, John, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
That's when they come and get you. 3 in the morning when
Hey?
you're vulnerable and you're not expecting them.
Leave it out, girl. Knock it on the head.
If they come now, John, you're trapped. We're both trapped. We'll never get away.
What's that? Who the bloody hell are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm a merman. I've been thinking, Scott.
Yes, Oates?
It's 3 days since we left the Pearl. Already our rations are dangerously low. There isn't enough food to keep 4 of us alive till we get back to base.
I'm afraid you're right, Oates.
But if one of us were to leave, the others would survive.
If anyone were to leave here now, Oates, he would surely die.
He'd die so that others might live.
Yes. So which of us is man enough to do this magnificent deed?
Well...
Yes, Oates?
Well, I am prepared to lay down my life for the sake of my fellow explorers.
Oh, well done. Who else? Bowers.
I am prepared to let Oates go, sir.
Wilson?
I'll go along with letting Oates go, sir.
No, look, as captain of this crew, I'm sorry, I think it's my duty
Oh, thank you, sir.
to choose who should go. Eeny, meeny, miny, Oates.
Well done. All right, don't push.
No, hang on, Oates, hang on.
Yes?
I'm sorry. We can't let you go just like that,
Yes. Oh, thank you, sir.
without giving you this leaving present.
Oh, thank you, sir. A digestive biscuit.
Well, then eat it all at once.
So, this is it. Will I ever see my beloved England again? My dear Mews house in Greenwich, my lovely... Hang on. Taxi!
Yeah?
Drive me to Greenwich, please, sir.
Oh, I'm not going south the river tonight, mate.
Oh, come on. And now, Living Language, introduced by Pierre and Gilles Dubois.
Hello,
Bonjour.
and welcome to Living Language. My name is Pierre.
Et le mien, Gilles. Alors,
Hello. As you can tell from our accent, we are not, how you say, très bleu Englishmen.
no. We are from Bradford.
Ouais.
And today, we are teaching you a new language.
Today, we introduce you to a language which is spoken all over the place, but mainly through the mouth. See if you can guess what it is.
Yes, debutante.
Debutante. Eh?
Cynthia, tell us, how long have you been fluent in debutante? Of course, at the first, she found it very difficult to master the language, but we found out what the trouble was. After the lobotomy, she was speaking it as well as any lady show jumper.
But to speak it well, all you need is 1, a public school education, 2, a rich daddy, and 3, no chin.
Let's look at some of the phrases most commonly used. Daddy, can you give me the money to buy a new car? Next one.
But I wanted to marry Prince Charles.
Of course, all this is very basic. If you want to master debutante and speak it fluentement, you have to live like they do. And this is what you do.
You get a job as a temporary typist while you are waiting for some rich moron to marry you.
Et deux,
you have to take at least 10 free holidays a year with friends who own villas in sunny parts of the world.
trois.
You have to put it about a lot.
Well, that is all we have time for this week. But before we go, a quick grammar test.
Oui. What part of speech is this?
Is it a doing word or a describing word?
Well, of course, it is a describing word, as debutantes don't do anything.
So until next week, as we say in Bradford, au revoir!
Hi. Nice party, eh?
Yes, very nice.
I see you're standing next to the trifle.
Yes.
So I suppose you could say there's two very sweet things. Standing next to each other, couldn't you, really?
Sorry?
You know, the trifle, you, standing next to each other. You could say there's two very tasty, sweet little things standing next to each other, couldn't you?
Oh, I see. You're trying to pick me up.
No. No. You're a feminist, aren't you?
Well, if you mean that I find that kind of blatant sexual overture offensive, then yes, I suppose I am. Why? Do you have anything against me?
No. What a relief. What a relief. Phew. I'm so glad, because if you thought I'd waited for the past 36 minutes till you moved over next to the trifle just to come and make that feeble joke, you know, then you wouldn't see me for dust, because I can't bear that kind of sexism. That's the right word, isn't it?
If you like.
Yes. I think you're right, because I can't tell you how fed up and bored I get with the same old routine. It goes on all the time. I mean, just look around you, going up to a very physically attractive woman. Not that I'm saying that you are, but if you were, which you obviously are physically attractive in the non-physical sense, I just keep it to myself. Then I'd have to talk to you about my very, well-paid job in an advertising agency, before asking you back to a rather nice little studio flat, which is just 5 minutes away by a brand new Porsche, drinking lots of champagne, going to bed, and staying up all night making mad, passionate love. That is just the last word in tedium for me. Really boring. It's such a relief to find somebody, with whom you can have a really sensible and cogent conversation. And at the end of the evening, you just shake hands and go home and have a good night's sleep. That is my idea of a good night out.
Sorry, are you talking to me or the trifle?